Hey, David here. Could you come a little closer? I can barely see you. That's a bit better. Maybe a little closer? Wow, way too close. That's better. Hey, David here with Oakville Community Classrooms and the Oakville Symphony. Thanks for joining me today. What if I asked you what your favorite food is? What would you say? Would you say pizza? Noodles? Or tofu curry? Or something different? And how would you choose? I mean, what is it that makes that food your very best? Hey kid, can I ask you a question? What's your favorite food?
My favorite food would probably be instant noodles.
But why is that your favorite? What things do you like most about it?
I really like them because they're spicy, salty, and the noodles have a really good texture.
My favorite food is ramen. I think I like it because of the noodles' texture and the soup's spiciness and how it's nice and hot.
Very interesting. Did you hear what they said they liked best? The flavor, the smell, the texture, the temperature. You could say that these are some shared qualities of most foods. And by describing each of them in these ways, we could explain what we like, or even dislike, about pretty much any food. For example, you know what I love about ice cream? It tastes sweet, has a super creamy texture, and it's frosty and ice cold. Delicious. You could even go so far as to say that these are some elements of all foods. And by elements, I mean categories of qualities that can be used to describe any food imaginable. People might argue about what elements should be on that list, but by knowing how various elements can be combined successfully, we could make some pretty tasty food. So maybe by now, you've figured out that this video isn't really about pizza. And do you remember what group I said I was from? That's right, the Oakville Symphony. The Symphony is a community group in Oakville that loves to play music together, and we specialize mostly in something called Western European art music, which you might know as classical music. That means that the musical examples we'll be sharing with you, played by actual Oakville Symphony musicians, are music from this European tradition. But make no mistake, there are as many different kinds of amazing music as there are amazing people across the whole world, and what we're sharing with you today is only one kind of this music. So this is the first in a series of videos where we're going to learn all about the elements of music, that list of qualities that describes how any kind of music can sound and helps us talk about what we like in songs that we hear. Because for some reason, most of us know when we like a song and when we don't, but sometimes it's hard to explain exactly why we might feel that way. Hey kid, what's your favorite song?
Probably Maple Leaf Rag by Scott Joplin.
But what do you like most about it?
I like the beat a lot. Happy by Pharrell Williams is definitely my favorite song. Why? Because I love the beat. It's peppy, just like me. And whenever I hear it, it makes me feel happy.
Not everyone agrees on what all the elements of music are, or even how many there should be, but we'll be looking at 5 that are on most people's list. Rhythm, pitch, tone color, structure, and dynamics. And the first one we'll be learning about today tends to be the one that attracts most people to popular music these days: rhythm. Rhythm is sort of like the skeleton of the music. You can think of it as the bones that the rest of the music is built around. Aspects of rhythm have to do with how sounds are organized in time, such as the speed or tempo. Tempo controls how fast or slow the music happens. Sometimes orchestra musicians use Italian words like adagio, which means very slow, or prestissimo, which means very fast, to describe the tempo of their music, but not always. One of the first decisions a musician has to make when creating music is how fast it's going to be performed. Listen to these two examples. If you like, you can pause the video afterward and have a quick discussion. How does the choice of tempo, the speed of the music, change the feeling? So, what did you think? Did you find the slow song more calm and peaceful? And did the faster one kind of make you want to get up and move around? Hey, me too! Speaking of moving, rhythm is often very closely connected to dancing, and one of the most important parts of this is called meter. Meter has to do with how we group notes together into beats, and depending on how we group them, we might feel like moving in different ways. For example, if we organize music into groups of 2 beats, we might feel like marching. Or in groups of 3 beats, maybe a waltz. Or in groups of 4 beats, we might feel like dancing a salsa. The point is, these different meters organize music differently, which changes the feeling of movement. Have you ever been to a symphony concert or watched a recording and seen the person at the front waving their arms at the musicians? This person is called the conductor, and one of their jobs is to communicate the meter to the musicians. Depending on how the meter changes, the conductor can move according to different patterns. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear it from Maestro Roberto de Clara, the conductor of our Oakville Symphony.
Have you ever wondered what a conductor is doing when he's waving his arms in the air? It's more than just painting pretty pictures. He's also giving a lot of musical signals to the orchestra. One of these most important musical signals is rhythm. And music is organized in bars, sometimes of 2/4 time, sometimes of 3/4 time, and sometimes of 4/4 time. And the conductor beats those bars so that it indicates to the orchestra exactly what the rhythm is going to be. So the basic one is in 2/4 time, where you go up, which is called the upbeat, and come straight down, which is the downbeat. The upbeat is the preparation, and 1 and up is 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to turn around so you can see what it would look like when I invite you to do exactly the same thing. Down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a rhythm that we use a lot for marches. Then there's 3/4 time, and it's almost exactly the same, where you go up and come down, but then you go to the right. And from the right, you go back up. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The last beat in the bar is always the upbeat. Then we add one more note and it becomes 4/4 time. And that's down, to the left, to the right, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, left, right, up. Down, left, right, up. You can practice this at home. If you sing O Canada and conduct in 4, you'll know exactly what 4/4 time is all about.
Wow, very cool. You know, I always figured he wasn't just waving his arms randomly up there. Of course, the conductor's job goes way beyond just keeping the beat and communicating the tempo, the speed of the music, and the meter, the way in which the beats are grouped together. The primary way that music conveys a sense of tempo and meter is through pulsation and accents. Pulse is just the regular, steady repetition of sounds, kind of like the heartbeat of the music. And accents happen when we make some of those sounds stronger or louder. Those accents can help us communicate the meter. See if you can clap together with this steady pulse. Now, when you see this little symbol, clap a bit louder on those notes. Sometimes musicians use time signatures, numbers at the beginning of the music, to tell each other what the meter is. And accents can create different meters within those time signatures. It can get pretty complicated, but tempo, pulse, and meter all combine to help organize music within time. And without them, music might be really unpredictable and difficult to move to. Now where things really start to get interesting is when we look at how rhythm takes on patterns and variations within our steady pulse and meter, and this happens as we change how long or short the musical sounds are. This is called duration. You might already be familiar with some of the ways that musicians change the duration of notes, by moving their bow slower or faster, by sustaining the air or tonguing quickly, or by rolling continuously or striking quickly with drumsticks. Musicians use different notes on their sheet music to communicate how long or short a note is to be played or sung. Maybe you've heard of some of these before. In Canada and many other countries around the world, we call them whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes to start with. There are many others, and each one has a different duration, which means that as a musician performing, keeping a steady pulse and meter, we make some of these notes longer and some of them shorter. When our time signature has a 4 on the bottom, we hold whole notes for 4 counts, half notes for 2 counts, and quarter notes for 1 count. See if you can clap along with these different rhythmic durations. For each one, I'll clap it first. The second time through, see if you can do it with me. Okay, everybody, you ready? Don't forget, the first time is just for me. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, do you think you're ready to join me? Let's try it a second time. 1, 2, ready, go! Hey, great job! Okay, you ready for our second one? Don't forget, I go the first time, you join me on the second time. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, are you ready to join me? Don't forget, the whole notes are worth 4 beats, half notes are worth 2 beats, and quarter notes are worth 1. 1, 2, ready, go! Did you get it? Good for you. Okay, for our last one, we're gonna make things a little bit harder. So really listen carefully this first time. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you think you have it? Let's give it a try. You ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Good for you. Wow, that's a great job. Thanks for joining me, everybody. So, that's basically the basics of rhythm. Let's review what we learned. Music can be described according to its basic elements, kind of like the ingredients in a recipe. 5 of those elements could be rhythm, pitch, tone color, structure, and dynamics. Today we looked at rhythm. Rhythm is one of the most basic and essential elements because it controls how music happens within time. Rhythm can be broken down into smaller fundamental elements such as tempo, pulse, meter, duration. Tempo is how fast the music is. Pulsation is the steady beat. Meter is how the pulse can be organized into groups of beats using accents. And duration controls how long or short notes can be performed within the tempo and meter. These elements of rhythm combine to control the part of music that makes you want to move in different ways. Hey, I had a lot of fun trying to explain all of this to you, and I really hope it made sense. If you want to practice some of these rhythmic concepts and see if you understood it, look for the link in the video description below to try an activity. Hope you all can join me next time as we look at the next element, pitch. So long, everyone.